Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I again am here talking to you from one of the educational series of manuals that Toastmasters has. This particular speech is about the educational program and the different tracks that we have within Toastmasters on your journey towards wherever your goal is. Hopefully, Toastmasters hopes that your goal is to get to Distinguished Toastmaster status. Yay. It takes a while, and you'll see why here in a moment. In this speech, I will be talking through the communication path, the education path for speeches, as well as the leadership path, and talking through examples of those, etc., so that as you're thinking ahead, as you're thinking forward into time, you can keep these in mind, because there are sometimes things that you do that actually qualify you in a more advanced stage of your educational process, and you want to be aware of those and help your VPE, moi, to make sure that they get recorded. You have in front of you a couple of pieces of paper. The first one that I would like to speak to is the one that has the competent communicator list of speeches on it. Everybody have that one in front of you? Yay. I think most of us are aware of the Competent Communicator Manual. That's the very first manual you start with in your Toastmasters educational journey. And the Competent Communicator Manual is a manual that focuses in on various different aspects of preparing and delivering a speech. Such as, if you look there, you can see that one of the speeches is about vocal variety. How much do you move your voice up and down to make it interesting to your audience? Or how to use visual aids. How do you use a PowerPoint? And especially given this room, the only people that can log onto that computer over there are the Redmond city employees, so it creates a little bit of a challenge perhaps if we had no one from the city actually show up to a meeting, right? So in planning ahead, if you do visual aids, you might want to make sure that Dave or Chester or Shannon or Maggie or somebody is here so that we can actually get logged into the computer if you want to use something on that machine over there. That Competent Communicator Manual is one that when you finish it, you get an educational award from Toastmasters International. You get the lovely little certificate that you can frame, etc. Now beyond that, beyond the Competent Communicator, there are other levels of educational awards. You can go for your Advanced Communicator Bronze, your Advanced Communicator Silver, and your Advanced Communicator Gold. All of those require you to continue making speeches. And as you can see, if you look over onto the right-hand side of that piece of paper that I've handed out for you, you can see that each one of those, the bronze, the silver, and the gold, require each of them 2 advanced manuals. I have a list of the advanced manuals underneath so that you can see what the overall topics are in some of those advanced manuals. For example, a lot of us may like storytelling. I knew from the get-go that storytelling would be one of my advanced manuals that I work through. The nice thing about the advanced manuals is that they're 5 speeches apiece. So each time when you're going for your bronze, you're doing 20 more speeches. Or 10 more speeches, sorry. 10 more speeches. In the Communicator Silver, you're doing 10 more speeches. So it seems like a lot of speeches. I know it seems like a lot because you're talking about 10, 20, 30, 40 speeches. It's a lot of speeches. It sounds like a lot of speeches, doesn't it? But one thing that actually makes it nice is that instead of thinking of the number, it's like, okay, so if I really like doing storytelling, and I actually found the interpretive reading to be a very interesting manual, some of those manuals, it can go by very quickly, especially if you have good ideas about what kinds of topics you want to insert into that. And just like I did, either it was a week or 2 ago, I talked you through, take your expertise, take the things that you like to talk about, and match things up. I know that I like to do storytelling. I know that for a fact. That's one of my favorite things to do. So I knew that the storytelling manual should be relatively easy for me to accomplish. There are some of them I know I never want to do. I'm not into public relations. I could care less. But for somebody else, that might be, oh, I want to practice that. And what's great is that some of these, especially like a PR, the public relations manual or something like that, or if you do the one where you are practicing to be on television or something like that, sometimes these may actually be interests that you have for your own career. And so they can dovetail quite nicely into things that you would like to practice in a safe environment so that you can learn how to do it. Now, not only do you have to do speeches in this communication track, in this speech track, but you also have a couple of things that you have to do, such as when you get to the Advanced Communicator Silver, you have to do 2 speeches from the Better Speaker Series or the Successful Club Series, which is something that I'm doing right now. These educational series are things where the material is already prepared for you. You just take the material. You can take the PowerPoint if you want to. You could use the PowerPoint if you wanted to. I decided to do slightly different handouts instead. It's something that I prefer. But those are educational speeches that are to benefit the entire club, to inspire and maybe help all the different members that are in your club. Plus, when you get to the Advanced Communicator Gold, you also have to coach a new member. A little different in the speech track anyway, but keep that in mind, especially if, somewhere along the way, even in your competent communication manual, at some point you will have been through 5 or 6 of those speeches, and you may feel comfortable in helping somebody else to get through those first 3 speeches, and just recognize that that action, that activity that you do can qualify for certain things. And that's why I want to make you aware of that later on, those things like that matter. And I can go ahead and record that for you if you do something like that. We're not having to wait however many years down the line before you get into the Advanced Communicator Gold to actually record it. Now, let's take a look at your second piece of paper there that I have for you as a handout. This has to do with the leadership track of Toastmasters. And the competent leadership manual that you get when you join, you should always bring that to club meetings. Just make it a habit, have it with your keys or something when you get ready to go out the door. Bring your competent leadership manual with you. Now, at the same time, as long as we record that you actually did a timer roll, or that you did a speech evaluation, or you were the general evaluator, or any of the other roles that we have in the meeting, when the meeting gets closed, all of that gets recorded in EasySpeak. So not only are the speeches being recorded each time we give one, but also these leadership tasks are being recorded as well. In EasySpeak, for every single one of you, I have the Competent Leadership Manual already open. So we're tracking along. Each time we close a meeting, it says this timer roll was done, or this grammarian roll was done, things like that. So even if you haven't been bringing your Competent Leadership Manual with you, you can go online, look yourself up, and you can see what has been checked off for you on the Competent Leadership Manual. And it's always good to go and look at it anyway, just to kind of keep in your mind, what have I finished? What do I still need, etc. Because as we sign up for roles in a meeting, you can look at your Competent Leadership Manual or have that screen open in EasySpeak, and you can say, oh, I need to get a timer roll out of the way, and that will complete perhaps one of the projects in the Competent Leadership Manual. Or I need to complete this role or that role. And then you can actually strategically think about what it is that you want to do in a given meeting. So I'm going to be in the meeting on September the 10th. So I want to go ahead and make sure I sign up for whatever role it is that you're missing. Okay? Any questions about that?
Yes.
Yes.
You serve as a Toastmaster. Does it apply to more than one of those points or just one at a time? So P4 says Toastmaster, P7 says Toastmaster.
Yeah. For all of the different projects, we can have Toastmaster several times. So for example, if you look at, let's look at Project 7, P7, where it says Toastmaster, General, evaluator, that's supposed to be table topics, my apologies, and hospitality, you have to complete two of the 4 of those items for Project 7 to be completed. So you can choose to be Toastmaster or not in order to complete that. Now what happens is in Easy Speak, it will actually have a drop-down list for me, and I just go choose one when you're completing a role, and I can change those. So if at any time you want to say, you know, I want that Toastmaster role to have completed this particular project, you know, because if you're strategic and you're thinking about it, you can go, okay, so I have a Toastmaster role, I've got a timer role, I got that. Does that complete any of those projects? So that I can know that at least Project 7 is done, right? And then what's great about Easy Speak is that you can see this as a visual, and they're all in one spot. So you're not having to search through your competent leadership manual to kind of see where you're at. Does that help?
Yeah.
Did that answer your question? Okay. So as you see in the competent leadership, there are 21 or 22 tasks that you have to complete. It seems like a lot, but if you're coming to meetings and you're fulfilling roles, these go by pretty fast. The ones that take a little bit more time is when you need to chair a committee or do some of those things. Those take a little bit more time rather than, you know, going into a meeting and it's done when the meeting is over. But a lot of this can be done in a relatively short period of time if you're coming to meetings with any frequency. Then beyond that, the Advanced Leader Bronze, you have to be an officer for at least 6 months. For those of you who are officers, we will record that come December. And if you go to your training, you have to go to the training at the same time. So you need to go to a training during this 6 months or this year that you're an officer, and we can record that as well. Because the system will actually check. If I say that you're an officer in 2015-16, it's going to require me to put in a date for training that actually corresponds to that fiscal year of Toastmasters. Okay? So it will not accept a date 10 years ago or something like that. We also have to make some educational presentations, and you will have to have achieved your CC in order to, and your CL in order to get the Advanced Leader Bronze. The Advanced Leader Silver is probably one of the harder ones for anyone to achieve because you have to be a district officer in order to achieve that level. You have to serve as a club mentor or a coach, which can take a little bit of time and everything. So I'm not sure when I'll get Advanced Leader Silver done. It'll take me a little while to get that one done, but there you go. So hopefully what I have shown you, at least having them on these couple of pieces of paper, is the complete set of tasks that it would take for you to get to the Distinguished Toastmaster level, if that's something that you aspire to do. And even if not that, there are lots of great projects in here that can help you learn leadership skills, motivational skills, marketing skills, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do within this that can help you in your development. So I hope I've inspired you to at least know what's coming up and that you'll at least, at the very least, always bring your Competent Leadership book with you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Julie.